What's up, guys? So today I was bored as shit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the entirety of Atomic Habits. Right? I'll take notes, and then at the end of it, I'm gonna relay my notes. Now I'm doing this because I'm really fucking bored, and because why not, dude? I saw some guy do it on Instagram, and he didn't share the notes, so I'm like, let me do it, but share the notes, right? Now I haven't read properly in maybe 6 years. I'll pick up a book and read 10, 15, sometimes up to 50 pages a day. But I've never done a read. I have done a reading marathon, but 6 years ago, right? So it's gonna be a time lapse. So away. Hey guys, so I pretty much read the entire book. I went up to chapter 18 before the advanced shit, but I got through essentially the main purpose of the book. Now, I made one recording talking about it over 30 minutes and it just didn't have audio. The second one was ass because I was tired. So, you know what? I'm doing it a third time, bro. I'm doing it a third time. So, let's go through it. Chapter 1, Aggregation of Marginal Gains, which is basically you make tiny improvements in everything you do. When you take apart everything and improve everything by 1%, when you put it together, it will be significantly better. And small, easy improvements over big, flashy ones. I'm sure you've all heard about the 1% better every day. And I think a lot of people don't do it correctly. They don't actually understand what 1% is. If you're not reading and you want to get 1% better at reading, you're going to have to read a sentence. Read a sentence, read a paragraph. 1% is minuscule if what you're already doing is nothing, right? Obviously you can't have 1% more of zero, but you get what I'm saying. The main takeaway of this is that any improvement is good improvement. And if all you can muster is the smallest, tiniest little piece of progress, it's enough. It's enough. So don't feel ashamed. Don't feel ashamed that when you start something, you feel like you can't even do the bare minimum, right? Because if you can't do the bare minimum, then it isn't the bare minimum. I'm sorry, it isn't. You must do what your bare minimum is. And there's no shame in that because you're starting. All right. So this is 1% better every day. This is 1% worse every day. Right. So change is slow. Don't fall into old habits. This is what I did with running. I wanted to start running, right? I started it and I tried to run a K. Now, my friends were doing 5K, so a K to me sounded quite manageable. That shit was hard. And I ended up giving up running because 1 kilometer consistently was too hard for me and my pride got in the way. I could have ran for 100 meters, 10 meters, right? I forgot that the whole purpose of this was to just put on my running shoes and to just get out the front door. And maybe I don't go for a run. Maybe I just go for a walk, right? But if I start walking, I'm very likely to start running. So anyway, sorry. So when it says don't fall into old habits, when I started running and then I gave up, I didn't give up because I wanted to stop running. It was because I got back into old habits of just as soon as I got home from school, I'd start playing video games. Right? That was the old habit. That was what I did when I got home from school. But what I was trying to do was run when I got back from school. Right? So the old habit was video games. Your outcomes are the lagging measures of your habits, right? So if you pick up your phone as soon as you wake up and scroll for an hour every morning, that hour of scrolling might not feel like that much, but if you do it every day, it adds up. And if you're scrolling in the morning for an hour, you're definitely scrolling throughout the day for 5 hours, 6 hours. And maybe in the day, it doesn't feel that much. But when you realize that the average person is only awake for 14 hours a day, right? Or when I say awake, I mean they're out of bed for 14 hours a day, usually. If your screen time is 6 hours, you are spending half your life, your living life, your awake life on your phone. And it's a lagging measure. You don't notice it immediately, right? You don't notice it immediately when you have 2 beers every night. You don't notice it immediately when you start smoking in the mornings, right? Smoking a joint in the mornings. I need to clarify, a joint. But eventually you'll start feeling the brain fog. Eventually you'll start waking up and your shit will just be diarrhea, right? One day your liver function might just be slightly worse. One day you might develop dementia because your sleep is so shit. You're getting 6 hours of poor quality sleep a night because you're on your phone for the last 2 hours, 3 hours of your day. And then you're on your phone as soon as you wake up. In the 24-hour time span, it doesn't do that much. But over years, even months, you will feel the impact. And on top of that, it changes how you interact with everything. If you're scrolling for 6 hours a day, most likely you're not going to be able to do any deep work. You're not going to be able to interact with people in any meaningful way, right? Someone's telling you their life story and your brain's just not there. And I'm not tuning you. I'm not blaming you, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Everything I say here, I can say it with confidence because I have done it. I have been in the point where I can't empathize with people anymore because I was either on my phone or on League of Legends, right? I know from experience this is what happens. So your outcomes are the lagging measures of your habits. Finally, the value of disappointment when progress is not linear. We've talked about this many, many times, even going back 2 years. I've talked about this. When you start something new, for example, me and my running, you will have the valley before the exponential curve, right? It's not linear. And I am aware of this, but I'm not always aware of this. This is why I gave up my running, right? Sure, I knew it, but I wasn't making myself aware of it the whole time. I think quite a significant tool that this book gives you is that it gives you awareness. It reinstills the power that you have over yourself. Maybe not physically, but mentally. Because as soon as you realize that the reason you're not doing well in life or shit's just not going well is not because of some mystical reason, and it's because of just your lagging measures, your habits. Once you realize that, and it goes from a mystical sense to a biological sense, everything changes. Forget about goals, focus on systems, right? So if I'm a basketball coach and I want my team to go to the NBA finals, I'm not going to just think about the goal. I'm going to think about the training regimes, the training philosophy, training times, right? The types of players that I want, the kind of motivational speeches that I'm going to give them, the kind of nutrition, diet, training. I've already said training, but you get me. You focus on what you do to get there, not being there, right? So winners and losers have the same goals, right? Simple as that. Also, achieving a goal is only a momentary change, right? Unless your habits actually change. So if you have a really shitty, messy room like I did, and then you say one day, I'm going to clean it. That's my goal. And you clean it and you have a clean room, that's a momentary change if your habits are not changing as well. If you have a messy room, that means you have messy habits, and that clean room will be messy in a couple of days, right? So the goal is not the end. The system is the end. Another thing, goals restrict happiness. A lot of the times we'll tell ourselves, I'll be happy when whatever. I'll be happy when I have a six-pack. I'll be happy when I bench 140 kilos. I'll be happy when I run 10Ks in 30 minutes, right? Just fucking fast. We don't allow ourselves to feel happy until we've achieved the goal. And when we achieve the goal, it doesn't even feel that good because you're thinking about the next goal. So you're never giving yourself the time to just look back and be like, damn, I've come a long way. And making these videos again, starting to make them again, have made me realize how far I've come, right? I may have not come very far to any of you guys, right? If you go look back at my videos, but I feel like I've come a long way, and that's what matters. Achieving a goal is not the end of progress. The system is. And finally, which I think is the most important part of this, is that you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the levels of your systems, right? If I have a goal of being a millionaire, I'm not going to magically get the habits of a millionaire, the mindset of a millionaire, the financial knowledge of a millionaire. I'm still me. My goal might be to be a millionaire, but if my habits are I'm spending 8 hours a day on League of Legends, 4 hours on scrolling, and 3 hours smoking weed, I'm not going to do shit. I'm not doing jack shit, bro. Chapter 2. There's 16 chapters in total. They fly by after chapter 1. So, behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last. This is a big one that I've spoken about. It's about your identity, right? So, for me, the reason I gave up running was because running wasn't part of my identity. I didn't identify as a runner, right? I go to the gym. I've never given up the gym entirely because going to the gym was part of my identity, right? I never let it completely die. Even if I'd go once a week, I would go because that was who I am. That is what I did. That is the person I am, right? So if you're a guy, let's say, and you want to get into the gym, you want a six-pack, you want really big bench, you don't really care about training legs, but that's whatever. You just want a really good upper body. And that feels great in your mind. But if you do not view yourself already as a capable person, if you don't view yourself already as a man willing to put in the sweat and the initial discipline, because once you start going to the gym, you enjoy the gym, it doesn't become a discipline. It stops being a discipline. It starts being enjoyable, right? So in the beginning, if you're not a man that's willing to suffer a little bit and be focused to learn the necessary skills, you will not get that body, right? And you don't have to have the knowledge and the nuance. I did an entire video again and it cut out. So we're going again, 4th time. I've spent 2 fucking hours total reading from these pages. I'm sick of it. I've been saying the same shit. I digress. I don't even know where we left off, okay? Constantly evolve your beliefs. All right, back in the day, 2023, go hard, push yourself, David Goggins, all that shit didn't work. I evolved my beliefs. I realized that to make change, I needed to be easy. I needed to be simple, right? I'm not David Goggins. I'm an average fucking person, right? The average person does not have the self-determination to do that shit, right? And that's completely okay. But you need to find a system that works for you, right? If going for a 3-kilometer run for your first run, right, which is going to be absolute hell, you don't feel like you can do that, just go for a 10-meter run. Do anything, dude. Do fucking anything. Chapter 3. So this is a habit loop. It's an endless loop. Starts with a cue. I see a joint. I get a craving. The craving is I want the joint. The response is I smoke the joint. And then the reward is I'm high. I'm blitzed. I'm fucked, right? This is over time. So your brain is a reward seeker. This is why I don't want you to feel bad when you say, why can't I stop scrolling? Why can't I stop smoking a joint? Why can't I stop drinking? That is what your brain is designed to do. It's meant to just fill your life with dopamine, with using as little energy as possible, right? The moment you demystify this shit and add a biological context to it, is that is when power gets back into your palms, right? Once you realize that this is just how my brain is working, you can start to train your brain because you know it's your brain. It's not you as a person. You are and are not your brain. You are your brain in terms of consciousness. You are not your brain in terms of you are not the reward seeking area of your brain. You are not the little areas of your brain. You are your entire brain. You are all encompassing, right? But again, you are not the organ, right? You are not the organ, the brain. Behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last, right? So if you don't identify as a runner, you will not be running. The only reason I stayed in the gym was because I identified as a person that goes to the gym, right? So fuck what everyone else says. Tell yourself you're a runner every waking moment of the day and run 100 meters. Fuck what everyone else says, right? If you run 100 meters in a day, you're a runner. If you run 2 kilometers in a month, you're a runner. If you run a 30-kilometer marathon in 3 years of running, you're a runner. You're always going to be a runner as long as you tell yourself you're a runner and you believe that you are a runner. Don't listen to what everyone says, bro. If you tell your mate, I'm a runner, when you've been running for a day, they'll tell you no. If you keep running for a month, they'll probably say, yeah, you're a runner. So fuck them. Nothing's going to happen in your life if your actions are determined by the opinions of other people. Decide the type of person. Oh my days, I already said that, bro. I already said that. Okay, so this is how to break good habits, how to make good habits and break bad ones. So for the Q, make it obvious. I want to read, I leave the book on my bed. Craving, make it attractive, right? I think about how good I'm going to feel when I get into bed and I read instead of being on my phone. Romanticize it. Give it some life, man. Make it easy for yourself. Response, make it easy. The book is right there. It's open to the page. I've left it for myself in that condition. Thank you, Liam. Reward. Reward, make it satisfying. As soon as I finish reading, I turn off the light and I go to sleep and I get a wonderful night's sleep, right? Perfect. For bad habits, Q, make it invisible. I want to smoke a joint in the morning. I can't. I gave all the joints to my mom, right? Craving, make it unattractive. I think about, damn, how shit am I going to feel after smoking that joint? I'm going to feel tired. I'm going to feel sluggish. I'm not going to be able to do any deep work. I'm fucked. And then at 8 p.m., I'm sober again, and I realize I have a big assignment due at 12 that I was meant to do early in the day, but I didn't because I was smoking, right? Think about how bad it is. Response, make it hard, right? Make it hard to actually get it. I have to ask my mom for a joint. I haven't done this, by the way. This is hypothetical, right? And reward, make it unsatisfying. I haven't figured out how to do that. I haven't. I'm sorry. All right. A habit is a behavior repeated enough times it becomes automatic, right? So in the beginning, you have a coffee in the morning, and then one day you decide, damn, I think I would like a cigarette with this. And then you have a cigarette with your coffee, and you realize, damn, this is really, really nice. So then you make a conscious decision for the next 2 weeks to bring out your cigarettes. A couple times, where are my cigarettes? Where's the lighter? I don't know. 2 months in of doing it, you wake up, you go make your coffee. Where are your cigarettes? They're by the kettle. Where's the lighter? It's already outside. It's right there. You've prepped it for yourself. It's a habit. The ultimate purpose of habits is to solve problems in life with as little effort as possible. Your brain is trying to conserve energy in all waking moments. Simple as that. Simple as that. As soon as you become aware of that, you realize why it's hard to make hard decisions. It requires more energy. Right. Chapter 4, making good habits obvious. Point and call out what you're about to do, right? Or make it obvious for any habit. So if you're about to have a cigarette, say, I'm about to have a cigarette. I am about to give myself a higher risk of lung cancer. I'm about to smoke carcinogens. Tell yourself this and make it unattractive. Behavior change starts with awareness, right? Your habits are automatic. You don't think about them. You need to bring them to your awareness. You're about to grab your phone. What am I about to do? I'm about to scroll. And it's not going to be for a minute. It's going to be for 15 minutes, right? And then I have to get back into deep work. And now you're comparing scrolling to your bullshit job. The brain is an organ of comparison, right? It compares the social media to your work. It's going to want you to carry on scrolling on social media. You're not going to be able to get into the deep work because you've now exposed yourself to a high dopamine environment. And now you're going to a low dopamine environment immediately. Your brain doesn't like that, and it will tell you it doesn't like that. Chapter 5, this is how you start good behaviors. I will run at time and location. I will run at 5 p.m. around my area. Simple. Be specific as possible. It doesn't have to be this simple. You can make it more complicated, right? Another thing, after current habit, new habit, natural momentum. After I make myself a cup of coffee in the morning, I will go and take the folded clothes that my mom cleaned and folded for me, love her, and I'll put it in my closet instead of leaving it for later, right? Do it now. Chapter 6, our behaviors are defined by our relationship to our environment, right? So in my room, I use my bed to scroll. I use my bed to sleep, to read, to jack off, to take a nap, whatever, bro. My bed is used for everything, bro. It's a fucking circus, right? So that's why I have that's why I had shit sleep, right? My PC, I work and game. That's why it's really hard for me to get work done at my PC because it's also where I game and I end up just gaming, right? So It's easier to associate a new habit with a new environment. It's easier to associate a new habit with a new environment. And what I mean by that is you don't have to go and buy a whole new house, but assign spaces to your actions, right? At my desk, in my room, I play games. In my bed, I read and I sleep. In my living room, I have my laptop where I do my work. In the sitting room is where I scroll on my phone. Designate areas in your life and shit becomes easier. Chapter 7. Once a habit is formed, the urge to act follows the environmental cues. I get home from school, I turn on my computer, I see my computer as soon as I get into my room, I want to play games. I boot it up, I open Discord, League of Legends, and Google, because then I also want to watch YouTube, right? If my computer wasn't there, I wouldn't have gone and played League of Legends immediately. If it was moved to a different room, I probably wouldn't have smoked a joint when I went for a walk, right? If the joint wasn't in my car when I stepped out the house. Oh, my joint's in the car. Let me grab it quickly. I can go smoke in the field. So what's going to happen, bro? People with high self-control tend to spend less time in tempting situations. Now, if you're trying to quit cigarettes and you're carrying around a box of cigarettes, you will smoke that box of cigarettes, right? Self-control only goes so far, and that's how it should be. That's exactly how it's designed. If you have a craving and it's constantly presented to you, you will eventually fulfill that need of whatever you need, right? You're going to fulfill that craving if it's constantly presented to you. Chapter 8, make it attractive. Temptation bundling works by linking an action you will do with an action you need to do. So you want to work out, but you need to do some cardio, but you want to binge watch your favorite TV show. You got an air bike. You take your air bike, you sit in front of the TV, and you cycle while you're watching TV, right? Just an example. This is a habit stacking and temptation bundling formula. After current habit, I will habit I need. After I make my cup of coffee, I will take my clothes to the closet. After a habit I need, I will habit I want, right? Cup of coffee, folded clothes. Now, what do I want to do? I want to go for a walk, right? For you, it might be I want to go sit down and watch a little bit of TV. Reward yourself. Do something nice. Habits are dopamine-driven feedback loops. Your brain looks for what provides the most dopamine for the least amount of energy, which is why you keep scrolling and you keep watching porn and you keep smoking joints and you keep drinking alcohol. You are designed this way. This is what big companies are vouching or depending on, is your biological restraints. Once you understand it, it becomes easier to fix. We imitate the behavior. Actually, fuck that, bro. No, I'm going to say it. We imitate the behaviors of three groups of people: the close, the many, the powerful. The close being your family. When you grow up, you kind of copy your parents, right? That's how it should be. It happens in the world as well. The many, have you ever been in math class and the teacher says, here's a problem, do it. Whole class does it. Okay, what's your answers? You have 3 on your paper. Everyone says 4. You're like, okay, the answer's probably 4. You haven't even fucking checked if the answer's 3 or 4. Everyone's saying 4, must be 4. And finally, the powerful. You get courses on how to act rich, on how to get the qualities of rich people. That should say enough. The culture we live in determines what behaviors are attractive to us, right? If you live in a culture where wrestling is a big thing, you're going to want to wrestle. That's attractive to you. We tend to adopt habits that are praised by our community. Simple as that. Chapter 10, your habits are modern day solutions to ancient desires. Your brain is the same as your Neolithic ancestor, bro. We got the same brain roundabout. So your ancestors, I want sex, find a fucking ape woman, right? Nowadays, we want sex, porn and jack off. Porn and jack off. We still have our ancient brains, but now we have technology. Paint positive actions in a good light. So if you're going to go to the gym, don't think about it as challenging. Think about all the new skills you're going to develop. Do whatever you need to do to paint it in a positive light. Because the more you tell yourself, damn, this is doing so much for me, this is so great, the more you're likely to repeat it, right? But if you go to the gym and say, fuck, this is hard, I'm sweaty, I don't like this, you're not going to go again, dude. You're not going to go again. All right. Highlight the benefits of avoiding a bad habit. Before I have a joint, I think, if I smoke this now, I'm going to be a redundant individual for the next 6 hours. I'm going to be stressed afterwards because I haven't done the responsibilities I needed to do throughout the day and blah, 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 blah. Make it shit. All right. The most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. You can be in motion as much as you want. You can plan, you can talk about it, you can think about it as much as you want, but as long as you're not doing it, you're not doing jack shit. I'm speeding up because I know my phone's about to die. I'm sorry, guys. Chapter 12, prime your environment for future use. Recently, after I make my bed, I have put Dune, the book I'm reading, open on the page I was reading. How nice is that? Thank you, Liam. Now I don't even have to pick up the book and turn to the page. I can just get into bed and it's right there. Fucking thank you, Liam. God, thank you for looking out for me. Humans naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. Scrolling. Don't try to do too much. When you try to read, start with a page, start with a paragraph, start with a sentence. To go to the gym, just change into your workout clothes, dude. Just do the bare minimum. Do the bare fucking minimum. Your bare minimum, right? Your bare minimum. I need to stress that. Fuck everyone else. Do what you need to do to start. To just start. All right, chapter 13. This is chapter 13, sorry. Habits can be completed in seconds, but continue to impact behaviors for sometimes hours afterwards. I smoke a joint, I'm fucked for 6 hours. Cool. Ritualize the beginning of the process. My morning routine is a ritual. I wake up, I make my bed, I get my coffee, I get my Zyn, I get my book, I take a shit, Zyn, I go for a walk, I come back, I sit in the sun. It's a ritual. Make it spiritual, make it nice, make it, I'm doing this, I'm living this. You will find something and it will become ritualized and it's the best feeling ever. So standardize before you optimize. Don't think about the route you're going to run or the type of running shoes you're going to wear or who you're going to run with before you've actually started running. Start running and then you can think about, do I do short strokes? Do I do long strokes? Do I bring my knees higher? Do I run stiffly? Whatever, just start running before you start optimizing. Because if you start optimizing before you've even got the fucking basics, you're going to stop. You're going to overcomplicate it for yourself. You're going to make it, this is such a fucking lust. I don't want to do this shit anymore. That's what it's going to be like. Chapter 14, one-time choices like buying a good mattress are single actions that automate your future habits and deliver increasing returns over time. If you get a really good mattress, right, every night at 10 p.m., if I got a really good mattress, I'd look at my PC and then I'd look at my bed. I could think about staying online for another 3 hours and having a shit sleep, or getting into bed, into that nice, comfy, warm bed where I just sink into the mattress and I can feel the pillow enveloping my head as I lie down, and then I can read my book, feel refreshed and tired and go to sleep, nothing racing across make it nice. If you get a good mattress, so many of your problems go away, dude. Compared to if you have a messy bed, shit mattress, it's hard, you don't sleep well. You won't want to go to sleep until you're fucking really, really tired. Chapter 15, we are likely to repeat a satisfying behavior. Your brain prioritizes immediate rewards over delayed rewards. This is why you scroll, this is why you beat your meat, this is why you smoke it, everything. It's immediate reward. That is why after you go for a run, immediately go and treat yourself. Immediately. End off your run at a convenience store. End off your run at a movie theater. End off your run at the fucking beach where you can just go into the water. Make it nice. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. To get a habit to stick, you need to immediately feel successful. Chapter 16, final chapter, track your habits. If you go to the gym, get a calendar. This is how many days I've gone. Attach your pride to it. Damn, I've gone to the gym for 2 months. I'm the fucking GOAT. Once your pride is attached to it, you will fight tooth and nail to protect it. That's a fact. Never miss twice. If you're on a diet and you have a shit breakfast, have a healthy lunch. Just because you spilt a glass of milk doesn't mean you have to go and empty out the whole jug of it, right? And finally, don't break the chain. Keep the habit streak alive. My morning routine. I make my bed, I brush my teeth, I read, I go for a walk. Those are the 4 habits that I follow in the 3-hour span. Right, if this is still recording, I'm very happy. Please, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Oh my shit, thank you, bro. Okay, thank you guys for this. Thank you.